What is up, everybody? I am back after a bit of a hiatus and I am in appraisal purgatory. I've had over $15,000 worth of appraisals that I've ordered. There's been appraisals that have been ordered by people buying stuff from me and none of them have been good. The video today is just talking about why that's a problem and what to look out for if you're getting into your first deal, your 100th deal, whatever it is. The appraisers kind of drive everything. So let's get into it. Basically, what's going on right now is I have about $5 million worth of new properties that I'm purchasing under contract. And in order to purchase those, I'm refinancing properties that I've had for the last 3, 4, 5 years that have gone up in value, increased the rents, the BRRRR method, as people refer to. Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. I'm in the refinance phase of that BRRRR method. And I'm here to tell you that it doesn't work all the time. It's not foolproof. You can't just be like, oh, well, this is what I saw on TikTok, so this must work. It's going to be great. It's always going to be amazing, because the appraisal can come back low. And in my case, I've had hundreds of thousands of dollars left off on these appraisals that I'm trying to recover very painstakingly, and it's costing me money, it's costing me time, and it's putting my next deals into jeopardy, which are with the seller that I've mentioned before I buy the majority of my properties from. So damaging that relationship is at risk too, and that would be a huge issue for me. What happened? Well, I bought 9 single family houses that we've done a couple videos on to this point. I rehabbed them. I put in $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 per house on 9 houses, so almost $100,000 worth of rehab. And I got those houses rented, and I was up to the refinance portion, right? So an appraiser comes out, they look at the property, and they go and make their appraisal. They come back and say, hey, I looked at these comps, I looked at the condition of your property, and this is what I came up with as far as a value. I paid just under $75,000 for these houses, and the first 3 appraisals that I got all came back at $75,000. So we're talking maybe $200 or $300 more than what I paid for them, not including the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 per house that I did in terms of rehab. So I'm out almost $100,000, and the appraisals come back and say, yep, they're worth exactly what you paid for them. So that's a problem, because I'm paying $10,000 a month in interest-only payments to the hard money lender that lent me the money to buy these properties, and now I'm in a predicament. If I can't get the values I need, that means I sit on the hard money longer, hemorrhaging $10,000 a month. It basically just leaves me kind of in uncharted territory, because I don't know what it's going to take for me to get the values that I need. Right now, most of them are rented somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 a month. So just based off of rent values alone, you would think you could justify $100,000 to $120,000 valuation based on my experience in the past with purchases that I've made, but I haven't gotten that. So it doesn't matter what I think, it matters what somebody's willing to put on paper. That's a licensed appraiser. And like I've said before, I think appraisals are BS. There's no chance that these houses are worth 75 grand a piece. There's houses, the ones that I passed on, we made a video about these moldy properties that I chose to pull out of this package. It was originally 15 and I only closed on 9. Those ones actually sold for more than 75 grand, and they have water damage, they have mold, they're in much worse shape, they have none of the repairs that I did to my properties. So not only is the interior destroyed, the exterior is destroyed, and somehow those sold for $76,000, $77,000, $78,000, which is certainly more than what I got on my appraisal. So that's frustrating. And what's more frustrating is I paid like $800 in appraisal. And I'm using a lender that I don't normally use. I normally use a credit union like we've talked about. I'm using what I refer to as the lending hut. The lending hut is just a blanket term for all debt service coverage ratio lenders, which are lenders that are willing to do a little bit more gymnastics. They're looking at each property individually instead of the whole portfolio. They can get stuff done a lot faster sometimes than some of these traditional lenders can. So I took my stuff over to them and I said, hey, what can you do for me? First things first, I paid tons of money for the appraisals, but also I'm going to be paying a higher rate. I'm potentially going to be sitting on the hard money for longer. I mean, there's just a lot of complications that could come out of this, and they don't want to do them as a portfolio. So I'm going to be doing 9 individual closings just for these single families, which adds a lot of closing costs, and it becomes painful really quick. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen with that. If I have to, I'll hold on to them and I'll sit on them for another 3, 4, 5 months. I'd prefer not to, but I might not have a choice in the matter. So that's the game plan with those ones, is kind of just sit and wait. I haven't gotten any information back. We're trying to do a reconsideration of value, which basically means I compile a bunch of information. I give that information to the appraiser, appraiser, and the appraiser then makes a determination. Did they make a mistake? Did they not? In the case of a couple of those appraisals, they put down 10 years old for the siding, and the siding as it sits today is not even 10 weeks old. So a little frustrating to pay, $900 per house and then get that kind of worked back. On top of that though, 2-3 families, townhouse style, 3-bed, 1.5 bath, rent for $14.99 a month per unit for a gross that's pretty healthy in the 8,000 range. Those places got appraised, and they appraised for $30,000 a piece more than what I paid for them, which is, I wouldn't say it's nothing. That would be, kind of rude to talk that way, but it's not going to make it justifiable to pull these off of the loan that they're on and refinance them. So that's another one. And then my third one is a 4-family, beautiful 4-family that probably should sell in the neighborhood of 360 to 380 on a day where the sun is shining and the birds are chirping. We owe 177 on that or so. So there's a good piece of equity there that we're going to pull out and use for one of these portfolio purchases that we're doing. And that one came back at 325. So I was expecting in the 380s or so was what I thought would be reasonable. I have a property under contract right now that I'm selling nearby in Milwaukee. I bought it. I tried to sell it to one of my friends because I thought it was a good buy and hold situation. He elected not to buy it, so I put it on the market for about $30,000 more than what I was going to sell it to him for, and it sold. It got an accepted offer right away, and we're waiting on that one. The reason I brought that up though is because that one's selling for $355. That's all 2 beds. It's got old furnaces. It's got no garage. The place that I got refinanced or was trying to refinance has a 2-car garage, has brand new furnaces, has 3-bedroom units in 2 of the units, 2-bedroom units in the other ones, and it rents for a gross of maybe $4,600 a month. So it's a solid place. I mean, just based off the 1% rule by itself, you could say it's worth $450. The funniest thing though is the property that I'm selling, the 4 unit that I mentioned that I tried to sell to a friend and didn't want it, so I put it on the market. That 4 unit got an appraisal. The appraisal came back. It's all good, whatever. Then it turns out, because I've owned it for just a couple weeks at this point, I need a second appraisal saying it is worth that much. So now we get to do this whole thing all over again as if there was no appraisal at all. So it's just, I'm in appraisal purgatory right now. I can't do anything. I can't make any deals. I can't move any money without any of these appraisals going well. And maybe I'm the one that has the inflated view of what my properties are and what they aren't, because obviously I'm not communicating with these appraisers very well. But the one thing that's different about these deals is the lender. When I use Summit or I use Landmark or whoever, the appraiser calls me, they talk to me, they say, hey, this is what we're seeing. What are you thinking? What is your plans for the property? What do you think they're worth? Whatever. They cross-reference with you. In the case of these ones, I didn't hear anything. They show up to the properties, they take a couple pictures, and off they go. I didn't get the opportunity to kind of plead my case, so to speak. And these are the results. So now I have $5 million worth of things under contract. I have no way to cultivate that money. The money that I'm gonna need for that is hundreds of thousands of dollars. The only way for me to pull that rabbit out of the hat is to refinance these properties or sell them. And we're getting down to the point where selling them doesn't even make sense because I wouldn't be able to close the transaction fast enough to justify it. So it remains to be seen. I still think the refinance is the way to go. I'm not going to waver as far as that goes, but if I don't get some action here soon on these appraisals, I'm in bad shape. So we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll have to sell my camera equipment and you won't see any more videos out of me after this. Simultaneous to all that going on, I have 3 requests with Summit Credit Union, and one of them is actually for the townhouses that just got appraised, and I said $330 a piece, which was lower than what we expected. I didn't realize that they were still working on that request too, so I might get another set of appraisals for those properties, and I'll be able to cross-reference them and see where the values fall. I'm also doing a refinance with them off of a hard money loan. Once that one closes, it's going to be a great case study in using hard money to secure properties for under market values, ideally 20, 30, 40% under market value, get them stable, clean them up, and then get them refinanced. We did a bunch of concrete work. We did brick work. The properties, when we inherited them, had open city orders for bed bugs and all this craziness. We got the people out, we cleaned everything up, and now we got it all running, well again. And that's going to be a great case study for you guys to see just how all those mechanics work. Right now, I'm talking about them in general terms because I don't have any paperwork really to show you. I sent all the information off to Summit, and then they kind of just disappear for 45 days and come back and say, all right, sounds good. We close on Thursday. So I'm kind of just waiting. I'm in this weird waiting game. And I haven't been flying a ton with the airline. I actually went uncurrent on the 777. So what that means for me is I had to go back to training, get recertified on the plane, and then sent back out. So I've been around a lot. It's just not a lot has been happening. So I've kind of segued into flying more for the military lately, and try to, you know, have some semblance of things to do while I just kind of wait around for stuff to happen. Sometimes that's the thing with real estate is, you know, people want to go fast like the stock market and make tons of money really quickly, but you have to learn to be patient because this is a slow moving ship. I mean, this is like the government. It's just slow and painful and methodical. Maybe not methodical in the government's case, but it's just slow. So you have to be patient. You have to be willing to sit on your hands for days, weeks, months at a time, waiting for something to happen, especially starting out. If you only have a couple properties, there's no levers for you to pull from. You're just kind of sitting around and waiting for something to happen. And it's not the most invigorating feeling, but it does work. And it's been proven to work time and time again. I'm not the first guy to have figured this out, and I won't be the last. But that's kind of what's going on. I'm in appraisal purgatory for maybe the foreseeable future. If you've ever had an appraisal problem, let me know in the comments. If you're ever curious about something specific to appraisals, let me know and I'll include that as well. But that's the situation right now. I appreciate you guys watching as always. And I actually did my second consulting call, so that was kind of cool. I've talked to 2 individual people now about what they're trying to accomplish with real estate, so that's been really sweet, and I hope to grow that a little bit as well. So if you guys have any questions, comments, always leave them behind and I'll take a look at them, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Appreciate it.